There's a silent game most people never notice. A game that begins the moment two pairs of eyes lock. For a woman, that single moment can trigger something she can't fully control. Her face heats up, her body tenses, and her mind begins to race. She doesn't plan it. She doesn't prepare for it. It just happens. Why? Because eye contact reaches deeper than words. It cuts past logic and goes straight into the part of the brain that controls attraction, fear, and vulnerability. When a man knows how to use this trick, he doesn't need perfect looks, money, or clever lines. A single glance can plant desire, curiosity, and even obsession inside her without a word spoken. But here's the warning: the same trick can also backfire, creating discomfort or even distrust if used carelessly. That's why so many men fail. They don't understand the psychology behind the blush. This video will break down what really happens in those few seconds, why eye contact works like a weapon, and how it can flip casual interaction into raw desire. By the end, you'll know exactly how to use silence and sight to make her feel something she never expected. When two people look into each other's eyes, something happens that is far older than language. It's not just a glance. It's a signal the human brain has been trained to decode for thousands of years. The eyes are the only part of the body where emotion and thought leak out without permission. A fake smile can fool, smooth words can mislead, but the eyes give away what the mouth hides. This is why psychologists often call eye contact the most dangerous form of communication. It bypasses reason and hits the subconscious instantly. For women, the effect of eye contact carries a strange mix of fear and attraction. Research has shown that holding someone's gaze activates the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions like fear, desire, and excitement. That means when a man looks at a woman with intent, her body reacts before her mind can explain what's happening. Her heart rate shifts, her breathing changes, and tiny muscles in her face tighten. She may blush without even realizing it. This is not because she chooses to, it is because her nervous system has been hijacked. Now here's where things get darker. Eye contact is not always innocent. In predator-prey behavior across the animal kingdom, the direct stare is a sign of dominance and control. The same instinct exists in humans. A man who avoids eye contact appears uncertain, while the one who maintains it projects strength. This doesn't mean staring like a statue. It means holding just long enough to create a spark of tension, long enough to make her feel noticed in a way that is impossible to ignore. That tension is what makes her cheeks burn. She feels exposed, almost like he can see into her thoughts, and that sensation is both unsettling and magnetic. Think about it: when a woman blushes, she isn't announcing attraction with words. Her body does it for her. The blood rushes to her face because of the sudden emotional heat caused by the gaze. Scientists link this reaction to social bonding, because blushing is a sign of vulnerability, and vulnerability often increases intimacy. That's why a man who understands this trick doesn't waste energy on clever lines. He knows the battle is won in silence, in the seconds when eyes connect and her defenses quietly slip. But here lies the danger. Eye contact is like fire: it can warm, or it can burn. Too short, and it feels weak. Too long, and it feels threatening. The balance is everything. A controlled gaze, mixed with subtle pauses, can create a mysterious pull that words will never match. And once she blushes, once her body betrays her emotions, she'll remember that moment far longer than anything he could have said. Blushing may look simple, but beneath the skin, it is one of the most complex reactions of the human body. When a woman feels that sudden spark of attention, her brain sends signals to the sympathetic nervous system. Blood vessels under her cheeks dilate, pulling more blood to the surface, and in seconds her face glows red. What makes this so powerful is that it cannot be faked. Unlike words or even body language, blushing is involuntary. She cannot control it, hide it, or switch it off. That loss of control is what makes the moment unforgettable, because she knows he can see what she feels even if she tries to deny it. Psychologists have found that the act of blushing is closely tied to self-awareness. It usually happens when a person feels watched. This explains why the gaze of a man can trigger it so quickly. The eye contact reminds her, on a subconscious level, that she is exposed, that her emotions are visible. Her brain interprets the attention as something significant, and the body responds in kind. It is not just about embarrassment, it is about being singled out. That subtle pressure of being noticed can transform into warmth that feels like attraction. In darker psychological terms, this reaction has roots in dominance and vulnerability. Across history, women were conditioned to respond to male attention in ways that signaled openness, softness, or submission. Blushing is one of those deeply wired signals. It shows she has been emotionally touched, even if she hasn't said a word. A man who understands this doesn't just see a red face, he sees a doorway into her subconscious. He sees proof that his presence has altered her state, proof that his attention carries weight. Real-life studies back this up. In experiments, when men held eye contact slightly longer than normal, women not only reported stronger feelings of attraction, but many also blushed or looked away nervously. Interestingly, those who blushed often admitted later that they remembered the man more vividly than others in the room. This shows how a tiny physiological shift can leave a long-lasting mark on memory and emotion. It's as if the body itself takes a photograph of the moment and stores it inside. The unsettling part is that this process bypasses logic. A woman might tell herself she doesn't like the man, she might resist his charm with words, but her body already betrayed her. Her cheeks revealed a different truth, one she cannot explain away. This is why eye contact, when used carefully, feels so powerful. It creates a contradiction inside her. Part of her wants to look away to escape the tension, while another part wants to stay, drawn by the intensity of being seen. That inner conflict is what deepens the emotional pull. But here's where the line grows sharper. If a man knows this reaction can be triggered, the temptation to push it further becomes strong. How far can eye contact go before it becomes overwhelming? Where does the thin line between desire and discomfort truly lie? When words stop and silence takes over, the weight of eye contact multiplies. Most men make the mistake of rushing into conversation, filling every gap with nervous chatter, as if quietness will expose them. But silence, when paired with steady gaze, is what makes a woman feel the raw intensity of the moment. Her mind begins to race, trying to decode what he is thinking, what he is feeling, why he isn't speaking. That uncertainty works like a spark, pulling her deeper into the psychological tension. Suddenly, she is the one carrying the burden of thought, while he controls the rhythm without saying a single word. In human interaction, silence has always been a tool of power. In negotiations, the person who speaks less usually dominates. In relationships, the one who withholds response creates anticipation. With eye contact, silence amplifies vulnerability. She knows he sees her, she knows she cannot hide her blush, but the lack of words forces her imagination to fill the gaps. An imagination, when left unchecked, often paints stronger emotions than reality ever could. She may start thinking, why is he looking at me like that? What is he feeling about me? And the longer she wonders, the more invested she becomes in the answer. Scientific studies on social dynamics show that silence increases arousal. Not in a purely physical sense, but in mental alertness. The body perceives silence as uncertainty, and uncertainty activates the brain's survival instincts. Their heartbeat quickens, adrenaline rises, and the person becomes hyperaware. For a woman locked in silent eye contact with a man, her brain interprets the moment as significant, her body floods with emotion, and the intensity often leads to desire masked as curiosity. What seems like just a pause in conversation is, in fact, a psychological trigger. Think of real-life situations where silence reveals the truth faster than words. A student caught lying often breaks under the teacher's stare without a single question asked. A child holding a secret will confess when a parent simply looks at them without speaking. This shows that silence, mixed with attention, pushes the mind into discomfort until it seeks release. In attraction, however, that release often comes through laughter, nervous fidgeting, or the sudden need to speak. And each of those reactions is a signal, she is responding, even if she tries not to. The darker side of this technique lies in timing. Hold the gaze too long, and it becomes threatening. Break it too soon, and the tension dies. The art is in finding the precise moment where she feels caught yet safe, exposed yet intrigued. That balance makes her chase the meaning behind his eyes instead of running from it. She may leave the room replaying the moment, questioning why her heart sped up, why her body betrayed her calm exterior. But once a man learns to use silence this way, a new challenge appears. How does he prevent the moment from fading like smoke? How can he turn a fleeting glance into a lasting memory that pulls her back, even when he's not around? What makes a moment unforgettable? It is never the long speeches or carefully crafted lines, but the way it made someone feel. A man who masters eye contact knows that his power doesn't end when he looks away. The real effect begins after the silence breaks, when her mind replays the intensity like a secret film she cannot stop watching. A single lingering glance, followed by a half smile or a slow exhale, can burn deeper than hours of conversation. Why? Because emotions are stored in the body before logic even has time to catch up. She doesn't tell herself, "I felt something." Her body reminds her through the flush of heat on her cheeks, the thumping in her chest, the restless energy when she lies awake at night. Psychology proves that the brain attaches stronger memory to moments of emotional tension. When adrenaline or dopamine is released, the mind treats the event as important and marks it for recall. This is why people remember their first kiss, their first heartbreak, or a dangerous encounter in sharp detail, while forgetting thousands of ordinary days. Eye contact that makes her blush taps into the same system. The quietness, the focus, the uncertainty, it becomes a psychological bookmark. She may try to dismiss it as nothing, but her body has already filed it as something. Real-world examples show how small gestures cement attraction. Think of a man who holds her gaze just a little longer than expected, then looks away with calm confidence, as if he knows something she doesn't. That unfinished message lingers. Or a moment when conversation slows, he looks into her eyes, then softly laughs as though they share a private secret, even if no words were spoken. These subtle cues trigger her to think, why did that feel so different? Why can't I stop thinking about it? The mystery keeps her engaged long after the moment ends. But anchoring desire is not about playing games. It's about creating depth. If a man's gaze is empty, the moment fades. If his eyes carry intention, whether warmth, challenge, or curiosity, it leaves an imprint. The power lies not in acting but in truly feeling something and letting her see it without explanation. People are wired to detect authenticity, even if they cannot explain how. That is why a fake smile is forgettable, but an unplanned glance can haunt someone for years. The danger, however, is equally real. Once the seed of memory is planted, it grows in unpredictable ways. She may find herself distracted, waiting for another chance to feel it again. Or she may resist, afraid of what the feeling means. Either way, the man has shifted her state of mind. He has moved from being just another presence in the room to becoming a character in her inner story. And once you enter someone's private narrative, you hold a place that is far harder to erase than you think. But how does a man take that invisible hold and turn it into action, where she not only remembers the moment but also begins to pursue it? That final step requires an understanding of tension, release, and timing. And that's where everything comes together. The final turn of power lies not in constant pressure but in the art of release. A man who understands attraction knows that the human mind is addicted to tension followed by relief. Just like a cliffhanger in a story keeps people desperate for the next chapter, a woman's emotions pull her toward the source of that tension. Eye contact creates the spark, silence fuels the tension, but stepping back at the right moment makes her lean forward. It is not about ignoring her, it is about giving her space to feel the pull on her own. Science shows that anticipation heightens desire more than the reward itself. Experiments on dopamine pathways reveal that the brain releases more excitement in waiting than in receiving. This means when a man creates a powerful moment, holding her gaze until her pulse races, then suddenly breaking it with calm detachment, her brain floods with chemicals that keep her hooked. She isn't just enjoying the interaction, she's craving the return of what she briefly felt. That craving is what makes her chase. But the trick is subtlety. If he pushes too hard, the spell breaks. If he withdraws too much, the connection fades. The balance is in showing enough interest to prove he is present, while leaving enough mystery for her to question what he is truly thinking. A smile without explanation, a glance that lingers before turning away, a pause that forces her to fill the silence, all these create a rhythm that keeps her mind engaged. The more she wonders, the deeper the desire grows. Real-life examples show this principle in action. Think of a man at a social gathering who talks with ease, but when her eyes meet his, he pauses mid-sentence, allowing a few seconds of silence before continuing. Everyone else in the room hears nothing unusual, but she feels the weight of that pause. Or a situation where he laughs softly, meets her gaze as if holding back a thought, then chooses not to say it. That gap of unspoken words becomes their hook. She will replay it later, searching for meaning, perhaps even reaching out just to uncover the truth. The danger and beauty of this method lie in its invisibility. From the outside, it looks like ordinary interaction. But inside her mind, it builds a storm she cannot easily calm. Her body betrays her through flushed cheeks, restless thoughts, or sudden bursts of nervous energy. She might text first, suggest another meeting, or linger near him longer than necessary. She may not even understand why, only that she feels compelled. The truth is, when used with respect, this technique doesn't just make her blush, it makes her chase. It turns a man from background noise into the center of her attention, not because of flashy words or grand gestures, but because of a quiet intensity she cannot ignore. Eye contact and silence become weapons sharper than words, creating a game where she willingly becomes the one who pursues. And in that pursuit, desire transforms into connection, and connection becomes memory.